What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Need It Sports Podcast. This is episode 33, and this is the first time that we were both on video. So this should be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. Let's just dive right into it, though, just like we always do. Let's start with week 3 of the NFL. A lot of big-time things happening this weekend. One, Jamal Agnew tied the record for longest play in NFL history with Cordero Patterson and Antonio Cromartie, 109 yards. Of course, a long kickoff. When you attempt a 68-yarder, you kind of got to expect that they're going to have a chance to return it. But he went for the record, didn't get the record. And then just a couple moments later, Justin Tucker nails a 66-yarder for the record. Of course, he hit it. He's the GOAT. His Madden rating today jumped from 87 to 99. I don't understand how he was even below a 95 to begin with, because he's one of the best kickers of all time, one of the most accurate. But then we also had another thing that happened, more history. The Chiefs lost and are below 500 for the first time since 2015. So a lot of stuff happening in the NFL this past week. Josh, what did you see? What jumped out to you on, either the early slate or any of the games?
Well, just to kind of pick up on that Chiefs game, that game kind of made me lose a lot of money, unfortunately. They were the last leg in a pretty hefty parlay that I had. And me, I was looking at it like, okay, they're both 1-1. There's no way in my eyes that the Chiefs are falling 1-2, especially at home. I know Justin Herbert kind of has that ability to be able to pull that upset against the Chiefs. He's done it in the past, so he did it again. And I don't know if you saw, but even Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce going up to him after the game, like, hey, man, like, you're the real deal. Like, you got my respect now. Like, all right, let's play. Like, we know y'all are legitimate.
He looked like he didn't want to hear it from Mahomes. He looked like
no. Well, you remember what Mahomes said last year? He's like, yeah, sure, we'll see. He's like, I'll know when I see.
Yeah.
So the fact that they came into Arrowhead and they won that game, and there was some kind of skeptical play calling at the end of that game as well in regards to clock management, to where they could have kind of ran the ball and not given Pat Mahomes an extra possession, but they went for the touchdown, throwing it up to Mike Williams. Shout out Mike, got him in Dynasty, number 2 overall receiver right now in fantasy football.
Sports League as well, right? Need a Sports League as well.
Yeah. So guy that I've just loved, but one of Herbert's favorite targets right now. But yeah, that game. And I don't even know if I want to get into this game just yet, but we already know who I'm going to get into later with Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears, but it's still a little too early for that. But that game, and then also, man, the Rams look like they're the real deal, brother.
The Rams, the best team in the league.
The Rams look like they're the real deal, to the point to where Tom Brady had to go out and recruit Richard Sherman. It's like, hey, man, I need you to come on down to Tampa and help us go back to back. So, yeah, that was a very, very impressive win by the Rams. Obviously, them being at home, but still, I mean, anytime you can put up points like how they did and kind of shut down and just kind of control Tom Brady like they did, even though Tom threw for over 400 yards, still, them being able to just come out of that game with the W was huge, still undefeated. Just seeing the excitement of Sean McVay whenever Deshaun Jackson had that long touchdown, running up the sideline all the way to the end of the end zone. He's having fun. I mean, what a time to be a part of that Rams organization right now.
Cooper Kupp's on pace to lead the league in receiving yards. He's the number one.
Matthew Stafford's playing great. Defense playing great. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd's looking great. He played like crap his last couple of years on his contract here in Chicago, but then he goes to LA and, hey, right scheme, right fit. Now he's balling. So that was really impressive.
With Aaron Donald on the line and Jalen Ramsey in the secondary, you got a pretty good chance to come in and just do your part.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I hate to say it, but Aaron Rodgers, being clutch. San Fran thought that they had a game-winning touchdown. I thought they won. I was so excited. I was like, thank you. We'll still be tied for first. Both of us 1 and 2, but no 37 seconds, no timeouts, easy for A-Rod. And, of course, Mason Crosby comes in and kicks a game winner. So that was huge. That was big for them.
It was no gimme either. Mason Crosby's been doing it his whole career, but it was no gimme. It was 51, and he absolutely drilled it.
Yeah, absolutely. On the road, to where that's a hostile environment. But you could tell how much that meant to Aaron Rodgers, obviously with his story of him being from Cali and him wanting to play for the 49ers, and him saying that if he did get traded somewhere in the offseason, it was going to be to San Fran. Obviously, San Fran made a lot of moves because they were actually trying to maybe prepare to, try to trade for Aaron Rodgers, reached out to him, but the Green Bay Packers said absolutely not. The story
of Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan having beef because Kyle Shanahan was trying to get Aaron Rodgers. The funny thing is, like, they're best friends off the field. If me and you were in that spot, I'd do the same shit. I'd be doing the same thing. So I don't.
There's no way you're gonna let me get a franchise quarterback like that. There's no way.
Oh, but I'm saying I'd be trying to get, like, if you had Aaron Rodgers, I'd like.
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, let me get Aaron Rodgers. Like
I'd be like, absolutely not.
But LaFleur was rubbed the wrong way because Shanahan's making those calls. But bro, this is business, and that's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I'm making that call too. I'm doing that every time, best friend or not. I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. So that man, shout out to Arizona. You know, they were looking kind of sketchy going into halftime. You know, obviously with Jacksonville returning that bag, I was like, whoa, all right, that was a big momentum. They were part of my parlay too, but of course Arizona came out, took care of business second half. Trevor Lawrence, man, already throwing 7 interceptions through 3 weeks, not looking very good. And that's going to kind of lead us into tonight's game, Thursday night matchup with Jacksonville and Cincinnati playing in Cincinnati. Jacksonville plus 7.5 point underdog. So we'll get into a little bit of that a little bit later. But yeah, those are just kind of some of the games that really, you know, pointed out to me. And also Buffalo looked great. Josh Allen demolished that Washington defense.
What's up with Washington's front, because they haven't looked good?
They can't get pressure on the quarterback. They can't get pressure on the quarterback. And honestly,
I think that's probably one of the biggest surprises in the league up to this point is them.
But I don't think that has anything to do with what they're doing scheme-wise up front. I think a lot of that has to do with not enough good coverage on the back end. You know, you can get pressure all you want, but if your DBs aren't locking up on the back end and they're not forcing the quarterback to think and actually hold that ball, dude, it's tough. These quarterbacks are good. They're going to get the ball out in 3 seconds. They can get out of the pocket. You know, teams are starting to, you know, scheme towards Chase Young. You know, they're going to adapt. They're going, and I wish the Bears would learn how to adapt and make adjustments, but typical teams are going to do that in the NFL. So with that being said, I expect Washington to come and get that pass rush going, but for the time being, their defense, their secondary is just going to have to do better, in my opinion.
Yeah, Buffalo was -7, and they blew that out of the water. I had them in a parlay. Every Sunday I do a little $25 parlay. You have to because it's NFL. But
or you do an expensive one like me.
Yeah. I'm just dabbling. Parlays don't always hit, but give myself a chance during the day. But Buffalo was a 7-point favorite. They blew that out of the water. The only time it was close was right before half when it was like 21-13, but Buffalo went and got those points back going into half as well. So Josh Allen looked great. Josh Allen could have been the player of the week for us. We posted the week 3 needed player of the week. That was Justin Tucker. It could have been Josh Allen. Josh Allen was phenomenal this weekend. There was a lot of great players this weekend, but ultimately when, you know, you got Justin Tucker going out there and breaking a record that 63-64 has been standing for a while. That record's been tied a couple times, but
Matt Prater, right?
I didn't think very soon we'd see somebody hit 65, 66. And then of course he made it. I got a question for you before we get into, you know, before you go on a rant about the Bears, because I know that is coming. I know that's coming.
That's why I already made a drink.
The Chiefs. Okay, so last night or 2 nights ago, I saw an opportunity to put in a teaser. We've done our research on this. We've talked about this plenty of times. The only sport you should be teasing in, or the only league, is the NFL, because the competitive balance is there across the league. And it's the only league really where every single point actually has some value. So I immediately put in a 2-team teaser. That sounds very average, but I don't think that with the line moving on the Tampa Bay game, that line has shot up every single day. So I had to get in on it last night. But I did a 2-team 6-point teaser, Kansas City -1 and Tampa Bay -1. I don't think there's going to be a better time than this week to back them after coming off a loss. So lead with that. But my question is, should we be that concerned about the Chiefs long-term this season with their defense, or are you holding off on hitting the panic button with them?
No, I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all. The 2 games that they lost, they've both been in those games. Patrick Mahomes has, you know, had some pretty costly turnovers in that game. You know, the one of him trying to make a Superman play against Baltimore whenever he was being tackled down on the ground. And then the one that he just kind of sailed with Travis Kelce over, it was at 3rd and 9. You know, I would have liked to see him just kind of throw the ball away, take care of the ball, punt, make, you know, the Chargers come back and drive, because it was still a tie game at that time, you know. So with that being said, you know, he tries to make a play to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, you know, he's there, he's open, but with all that win in Arrowhead, it just kind of sailed on him. Chargers wound up picking that off. That was a very costly turnover there. The defense, they're not looking great, but I've never just been that impressed with the Chiefs defense, period. They've always just outscored people, you know.
Seasons ago, they were awful. Last season, they did take a turn and were a little bit better in the secondary and had some success up front, but they've never been a unit you're going to rely on. That's never been the case.
No. And keep in mind, this is only, Tyrann Mathieu' second game this year. He's going to start getting more comfortable. He's going to start being able to, make some more plays. Obviously, had 2 picks in the first week, but both of those were honestly right to him. It's not like he just went out and made a big play. But no, I'm not worried about the Chiefs whatsoever. I think their defense will pick it around. I think Pat Mahomes will start taking a little bit better care of the football. Really, they got to get that run game going. That's what they got to get. They got to get that run game going. Because what teams are starting to do right now, they're just starting to play cover 4, and they're just going to give everything up front. And, yeah, you can score, but with your defense playing the way they're playing, you're not going to be able to put up 35 points like how you typically do. No. You're not whenever you're having to check the ball down. Tyreek Hill, I'm not going to say, he's been getting locked up, but he's been contained for the most part. Defenses are starting to learn, hey, we're going to make somebody else beat us other than Tyreek. But, hey, they also just went out and got Josh Gordon as well. Josh Gordon coming back, from, the whole marijuana, reinstallation with the NFL and everything.
This is like the 5th time he's been reinstated. What's the over-under on games we actually get out of him this year? Like how many games does he get in before he's gone?
Man, I think whenever you go to a team like Kansas City, and I think, before they sign you and they actually offer you a deal, Andy Reid's the type of guy who's going to be like, look, dude, this is a no BS policy. If you're coming here, we have the hopes of winning a Super Bowl. You know that. This is by far going to be the most talented team that Josh Gordon's been on. By far. So, Josh Gordon.
When he went to New England, though.
Huh?
I thought the same thing when he went to New England, though.
Yeah, true, but I don't know. Who knows? But I'm hoping that this is the last time. I want to see him be able to play throughout the season, and I want to see him be able to contribute to that Chiefs team. But enough about the Chiefs. I will tell you one team that I think is – well, actually 2 teams that I think that are seriously, seriously in trouble. One of them being a team in the AFC South, 0-3, Indianapolis Colts. Who would have thought that the Colts would be 0-3 right now? I mean, I know they haven't had the easiest schedule, but golly, I mean, these Colts, Carson Wentz, being banged up, being hurt, not playing well. I know you got Jonathan Taylor. Rumors are already coming out saying that Marlon Mack's about to get traded, so that's good for you. I'm sure you're loving to hear that as an owner of Jonathan Taylor in Dynasty. But the Colts, you've got to be worried if you're the Indianapolis Colts. Have to be worried. Start off 0-3. The Texans are, 1-2? I mean, so you're behind the Texans right now, and I don't think that's going to be long-term. But still, I mean, that nobody expected the Colts to be 0-3 right now. Probably everyone 1 or 2, 2-1. I don't think 3-0. But I was very surprised to see them lose to Tennessee. I thought that was going to be a game they were going to be able to come out on top of, and seeing them falling 0-3, I think that's definitely a red flag.
Well, they usually battle. They usually are able to squeak out a win against a good team, like that Rams game. Some years they would win that game, especially at home. The Titans game, they would at least cover the spread or lose by a field goal or maybe win that game. This case, losing by 9 is a huge red flag. The fact that they couldn't even go score and, make it interesting at the end. I mean, they got 1 touchdown in the whole game.
Yeah, I was just about to say they only scored 1 touchdown.
Titans defense that is not good
at all.
The Titans are a bad 2-1 team right now with the makeup through 3 weeks.
Yep.
So it is a little surprising for the Colts and very alarming. They're definitely in trouble. They're digging a hole, especially with teams like the Raiders and Chargers. I guess the Broncos, who have had an easy schedule, but teams like that are emerging this year. And you can't really afford to lose that many games if you want to clinch a wild card spot at the end of the season.
No, not at all. And I will say the second team that I would say that is in a lot of trouble are the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, 100%.
I've been saying this.
I'm not sorry anymore.
We both talked about this after week 1. We were in Denver. We watched the Pittsburgh Buffalo game, and Pittsburgh had the comeback against Buffalo. And we both said, I'm not falling for that. They are still jokesters. They are not the real deal. And they proved that this past week.
Buffalo lines are going to be cheap the next few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Take them. So, but yeah, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow went in. Jamar Chase, hey, first ever rookie receiver to have 4 touchdowns in 3 weeks since who? Randy Moss. Yeah, Randy Moss. So that's some elite company to be a part of, especially with everything that was going on in the preseason, with him. Oh, I'm having trouble seeing the ball because there's no white stripe on it and this and that. He's doing just fine. Yeah. That might have just been a PR stunt. We don't know. But that was a big win for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that was the first time the Bengals had ever beaten this, not ever, but they had beaten the Steelers by more than 10 points, I want to say, since like 2005.
It's probably the first time they've won in Pittsburgh in a long time as well.
Crazy stats. So that was a big win for Cincinnati. I actually took them money line that game, so that was a big win for me. And then my other big money line underdog team that I took was the Minnesota Vikings. I took the Vikings over the Seahawks. For me, I was like, man, there's no way the Vikings start off 0-3. Like, there's just no way. There's no way. And I didn't think too much of it other than that. I didn't, Russell Wilson in Seattle. I was like, look, the Vikings are not starting the season 0-3.
This is the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody, and you have got to drop last week and evaluate every game on a game-by-game basis. If you're thinking, Russell Wilson's going to come in and sling it all over them and get hyped up on that and not consider the rest of Seattle, especially them blowing a huge game at home that never happens, like, you have got to look at this game. The Vikings, I mean, they could be 3-0. They're not, because they are frauds, like we said, and they'll find ways to lose after the first 2 weeks. They did it twice, but they could have easily won both of those games. So I agree. I was like, there's no way they're going 0-3. Evaluate this game for what it is. Vegas gave us a gift. It was like, what, Vikings +1 or +2? It was a short line, right? Yeah. So
I think I got them at like plus like 145 or something.
Vegas told us what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because people looked at that and were like, oh my gosh, Seattle's barely favored. No, that means
Seattle's secondary is terrible, and Jamal Adams hasn't been shit ever since he got paid. Ever since Jamal Adams got paid, he ain't been doing nothing. But I mean, and Kirk Cousins has been playing amazing football. I will say that. Yeah, he's been playing lights out. He hasn't even thrown an interception yet on the season. He's spreading the ball around. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, another guy. He scored a touchdown in 18 straight games. What other receiver does that? 18 straight games. Like, I mean, he's a number 4 receiver right now in Dynasty. I got him, Mike Williams, and Calvin Ridley. So, Calvin, I need you to keep it going. So, but speaking of Dynasty, I will say this. I have to give props to Zaine. Me and Zaine played each other in Dynasty this week, and I was 2-0. Zaine was 0-2.
Another situation. Was I really gonna go 0-3 and 3-0? No.
Okay. Stop. Let me finish. Okay, let me finish. So I'm 2-0. Zaine's 0-2. I'm the defending champ. Justin Fields' first ever NFL career start against the Cleveland Browns. I wasn't going to not start him, okay? I wasn't going to not start him. But in the back of my mind, I will say this. I woke up Sunday morning and I almost put Tom Brady back into the lineup because I was like, man, I got a bad feeling about this. But I was going to be absolutely pissed because I knew that Tom Brady were playing the Rams. And I was like, man, I might as well just take my chances with Justin and see what happens. My team's good enough to win. Zaine, I don't think you put up any more than like 115 points yet this season. And then this week, you wound up putting up, 133 points?
134, yeah.
134. I'm averaging 145 points a week, and I'm like, regardless, I'll still win. Safe to say, Justin Fields gets me 3 points. I ended up with 126. Lost a net of 25 points from Tom Brady, who put up 28. And you wound up winning highest points. So not only did I lose my matchup to you because I was trying to be disrespectful and start Justin Fields, and I wanted to make it personal, but I also lost $100. And honestly, the loss wasn't that big a deal. But whenever I had to send you the $100 on the Cash App, I was like, for the highest points, I was like, dude, I would have had highest points and won.
I didn't think you were going to send me that money for like a week. I thought you were going to make me wait.
I mean, dude, it's already there. All y'all paid it. I mean, I'm not going to make you wait on that. It is what it is. That's my fault. That's my fault for trying to, act cocky and be disrespectful. It was a humbling moment. I'll say that. As an owner, we all have humbling moments. And that was my humbling
I
moment.
know damn well you were running. I know damn well on Monday you were running around to saying Dak and Zeke ain't getting that many points. They ain't combined.
Oh, no. I lost. I knew I had lost because I knew Philadelphia. I knew at home against the Eagles, I knew Zeke was finally going to go off against that defensive front that they had.
He had to.
I knew it. And I knew it because if you look at what the Cowboys have been doing since week 1, since I lost against Tampa Bay, they've been getting the run game more involved. They've been running the ball more. Dak's not throwing the ball 48 times anymore. Zeke's getting more involved, goal line touches. I mean, dude, I think I was up by like 28 points going into Monday night or something.
37.
Okay, 37, and you had Dak and Zeke. I mean, I was like, dude, no, there's no way. I'm not going to win. I had already chalked that off. I knew I'd lost. That's my fault for not starting Tom Brady, who's the number 1 fantasy quarterback right now, and I didn't even start him, and I started Justin Fields in his first NFL career start. Like I said, it was a humbling experience. But with that being said, I'm going to transition to this into my rant about my Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy. So, 26-6, one of the most brutal games I have ever watched as a sports fan. Not an NFL fan, not a Chicago Bears fan, as a sports fan. If you were not a fan of the Browns or the Bears, you should not have wasted more than 5 minutes watching that football game. That was one of the worst NFL games I've ever watched. I feel bad for Justin Fields. I think this is 100% on Matt Nagy. I think it falls on Matt Nagy. We drafted Justin Fields 150 days ago. And we still do not have a system or a scheme that's going to allow him to show his talents. Now, you got to give credit when credit's due. You got to give credit to the Cleveland Browns, okay? Got to give credit to the Cleveland Browns. They had a great scheme. They were not letting Justin Fields get outside of the pocket. They were not letting Justin Fields utilize his legs. They were running a QB contain on him. They were blitzing him like crazy. But at the end of the day, whenever you have a guy who has the arm talent like Justin Fields, what's the best way to get rid of the blitz, Zane? What's the best way to get rid of the blitz?
I'd be adding protection, not running 5-man protection. Okay. I'd also be trying to set him up on play action too.
Play action,
run, and then play action.
Play action and screens. Screens. We got a running back in David Montgomery, who every single time we actually run a screen, I feel like he averages 30 yards per screen. We didn't run a single screen against the Cleveland Browns. That's not one. And 30 dropbacks, okay, we had 5-man protection 20 times. 20 times. In 3 of those dropbacks, we had Cole Kmet one-on-one against freaking Myles Garrett. A second-year tight end, one-on-one pass pro-ing against an all-pro Myles Garrett, who me and you know a lot about with him being from Texas A&M. Okay?
He
Dominated. Absolutely dominated. Then you had Jadeveon Clowney on the other end as well. I mean, it was just absurd. It was
can't go one-on-one with Myles Garrett ever. Like, he's had 150 days to prepare Justin Fields, and you're going on the road against Myles Garrett and Clowney on the other side, and you're coming out 5-man protection every time. Like, what are you doing? That's obviously on the coach.
And another thing that I don't like, okay, is, yes, we went in this offseason. We got Demary Bird. We got Marquise Goodwin. And, we got all these fast receivers. Like, yeah, cold, dude, tight. Guess what? They can't win off the line of scrimmage. They can't beat a DB one-on-one. If it's not a go route, a post, or a comeback, and it's got to be something, a slant, a dig, a squirrel, an inside, whatever it is, and they got to actually beat somebody off the line of scrimmage, 1, 2, 3 balls out, guess what? They can't do it. We got one receiver that can do that right now. Guess who it is? Allen Robinson. And everybody's keying in on Allen Robinson. Everybody. So whenever you have a rookie quarterback like Justin Fields, you have a struggling offensive line, and you really only have one receiver that can go out there and win short routes against anybody in the NFL, you would think that you're going to get a little bit more creative and you're going to design a better scheme to be prepared for that situation. So with that being said, fire Matt Nagy. I'm tired of it. I am done. I changed my Warzone name to Fire Matt Nagy. Everyone's been laughing about it. I'm tired of it, dude. I'm done. I've seen enough. Everybody used to talk crap about Mitchell Trubisky, and now we're seeing it's not Mitch, it's Matt Nagy. It's our system. It's our play calling. It's everything that has to do with our offense other than the quarterback position. Mitch Trubisky can be and should be and will be, I think, eventually a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. If I'm the New York Jets, I'm going to get Mitch Trubisky right now. Right now. I don't know what you've seen of Zach Wilson. I haven't seen a positive thing out of him yet.
Mm-mm.
If I'm the New York Jets, I'm trading for Mitchell Trubisky right now.
So what's the deal with Matt Nagy saying anybody can start, including Nick Foles this weekend?
Look, so Matt Nagy, he likes to in his press conferences, he thinks he's being savvy. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to talk scheme, and I'm not going to do this. Like, dude, shut up. Talk scheme. You have no scheme. He has no scheme, okay? At the end of the day, he's just trying to say all cards on the table. We don't know what we're going to do. I have no answer for you, and I'm just going to give you a vague and broad response so that way you can't come back and say, oh, well, you said this and you didn't do that. So at the end of the day, Andy Dalton does not look like he's ready to start anytime soon. If he was ready to start, I would want Andy Dalton back in, me personally, because they went out and paid him $10 million. That's their decision. Him and Ryan Pace, that's on them. I want to see that. Nick Foles.
They're going to mess up this season anyway. Why get Justin Fields killed?
Exactly. Nick Foles isn't starting this Sunday, okay? Justin is fine. He was saying that because they really didn't know. So at first it was going to be Justin's throwing hand. Ended up being just his right thumb, which he had a brace on at practice yesterday on Wednesday. Today, Thursday, did not have the brace on throwing today. And the Bears have came out and said that Matt Nagy will be announcing our starter tomorrow, which I don't think we waited until Friday to announce a starter. They were saying like the last time we did that was like the 70s or something. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know what he's trying to do, but the good thing I know is Bill Lazor, our offensive coordinator, is actually calling the plays this weekend. Matt Nagy has relinquished play calling. He tried to be vague about that and say all that was going to be in-house, but then he has our PR rep come out and tell everybody that Bill Lazor is actually going to be calling the plays. So in my opinion, I think Matt just doesn't like answering those questions. He doesn't like being in that spot. So where he's like, we don't know yet. And then he goes and tells the PR, like, no, this is what's happening. Same thing whenever they said Justin Fields was starting last week. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of Matt Nagy. I want him gone. We need to fix it. And another thing I got to talk about, too, is I don't know if you saw the Chicago Bears actually just placed a purchase and sell agreement for the Arlington Heights Churchill Downs horse track that's out in Arlington Heights. So what this basically means in layman's terms is the Bears basically have documentation showing that they're in the process of purchasing property in Arlington Heights, which is a northwest suburb out of Chicago. That's actually where my family is from in Chicago. It's probably about 45 minutes outside of downtown Chicago. But it's an old racetrack. Churchill Downs are there. I've bet plenty of races on that track, but they're going to tear it down and they're going to turn it into something. The racetrack is gone. The Bears are the front runners right now. They're talking about building a new stadium. So there's a lot of controversy. Are they still going to be the Chicago Bears? Are they going to be Arlington Heights Bears? But at the end of the day, they're going to be Chicago Bears, just like the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are in Arlington. They're not in Dallas. It's the same thing. You're going to stick with that same historic name, all of that. But for me, it's kind of, it's like, dang, dude, they're really leaving Soldier Field. But at the end of the day, I understand why, because, you know, I don't know. I don't think you've ever been to Soldier Field or seen it or been to Chicago, but it's part of the museum district. It's owned by the city. There's not a huge parking lot. There's not very good tailgates. You know, there's really nowhere to park. Everybody there either has to park in downtown or they take the Metro or whatever it may be. It's like Wrigley. You know, just old stadiums, old ballparks, not accustomed to modern day parking or anything like that. So for the fan, it's a little inconvenient, but just the history of Soldier Field and everything there. And, you know, it's pretty depressing, honestly, if that's actually going to happen. So we're going to see how that unfolds and see what that takes. But with that being said, I'm definitely going to have to go to a game at Soldier Field this year for sure.
Yeah, this year you want to go? You want to go this year and see that?
Oh, absolutely. This may be the last year. Well, it's not going to be the last year, but yeah, absolutely. I'm still going to go to a game. I do business in Chicago. Why would I not just go to a game if I'm out there? You know, it may be a Lions game.
Y'all are playing Lions at home.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, we're playing the Lions at home, but yeah, it'll probably be Minnesota then.
Yeah.
Probably be Minnesota. So
y'all opened at 5.5 and have already come down to -3.
Oh, to us?
Yeah, y'all are -3.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I'm going to take Detroit money line.
Yeah, me too.
Get Nagy out of there, dog. And look, y'all see all this out here, and I'm saying I'm going to take Detroit money line. So
how long is the leash, though?
That's how much I want Nagy gone.
How many games do I have to lose to fire him, though? What's the number? Like,
I think if we lose, I think if our offense comes out and looks like how it did and how it has this season, I think if the offense comes out and looks like that this weekend at home against Detroit and we somehow lose, I think he's done. I think he's done. I think he's done. I think there's no way they keep him. They can have Mike Patine be the interim, Bill Lazor be the interim, maybe even Sean Desai. We'll see. But you got to understand, dude, our defense is playing phenomenal. Our defense kept us in that game in that first half. That was a close game going into halftime. We had momentum. We just couldn't do anything. First 2 drives by Cleveland, they, 12-play drive, 9-play drive, going for it on 4th down, sacked them. We had just as many sacks as they did. Our defense played well. But you got to understand, whenever you're not moving the ball on offense and you're having 12-play drives and you're forcing a field goal or you're getting a turnover and you're on the field for 6 to 8 minutes and then you go to the sideline and our offense has a 3 and out and it only takes a minute, you're only getting a minute of break. You're going to get tired. You're eventually going to give up points, especially whenever you're playing a high-profile offense like Cleveland, with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, guys rotating everything, Baker playing phenomenal football right now. That's the guy who I'll have to say I've been very impressed with this year. It looks like he's really taken that next step to be able to give Cleveland that opportunity to maybe actually go deep in the playoffs this year. So yeah. We'll see.
And they're another team that, if they would have been able to hold off the Chiefs, they could be undefeated at this point so far. So I don't think they've had a bad game yet. They've been playing great football. You want to go ahead and share Vegas Insider? Let's talk a little bit about this Jags-Bengals game tonight. I did a poll earlier on our story. The spread was at -7.5 Bengals way, and now it's down to 7. It looks like opened at -2.5, so it still moved a lot. When I checked it before we hopped on, it was 50-50 from the voters on our poll. So pretty split right now. I don't know if there's an edge one way or the other. Last week when we did the poll on the Texans-Panthers, it was like 70% on Carolina. So the people following us got that one right. They drilled it. So we'll see if they're able to do it 2 weeks in a row. Personally, I ran my model on this game. There's been enough weeks in the season to bring that back out. And I have 26-18 Cincy. So I see no edge on that game. That's right around the spread. That's 44 total points. Over-under is 46. I've seen a lot of people on the over. It looks like right here on Vegas Insiders, almost all the public on the over. But this is what's tough about the NFL, because I can see these games going one way or the other. Like the other night on Monday night, I hit on the over for like 5 units, but I thought to myself before I bet on that Dallas Philly game, I was like, man, I feel like every year this game's weird. It's a division game. I feel like it's always like 17-9 or something. And so I looked up the history of it, and every single year when it's in Philly, that game goes under. And every single year when it's in Dallas, Dallas scores over 30 points and it goes over. So I hit Dallas's team total over 27.5, took the over 51. And sure enough, that's what pretty much ended up happening. Dallas ran away with it. The Eagles couldn't do anything. Dallas nearly got the entire total by themselves. But again, everything can go one way or the other in the NFL. This is a game where I can definitely see 20-13, or I can see 31-24. You know what I mean? So I don't really have a good feel for this game. This is what I'll probably stay away from. But if you want to get into right here, if you have a play, I think you mentioned one earlier, and then Vegas Insider, obviously we can explain this a little bit as well, what we're looking at.
Yeah, so I'm just going to kind of start. So really with Vegas Insider. So I know we've referenced this website a lot in a lot of our previous podcasts and episodes. But basically, this is a website that's going to show you what the sports books in Vegas, not FanDuel, not DraftKings, not all these other, betting apps that you can bet with whenever you're outside Vegas, to where that's what I like to look at. I want to see what is Vegas taking in their sports books, in their casinos. So this basically, you can go in here and you can check matchups. You can check free picks if they offer that or whatever. I like to just look at the matchups because I like to see, well, what did it start off at? What did it open it at? What's that currently? So you see right now, Jacksonville, Cincinnati opened up at 49. Now it's at 46. That's for the total. So it's dropping down. So typically, whenever you see that a lot of people are going to be betting on the under. So when people are betting on the under of 49, Vegas is going to adjust, and they're going to adjust that total down because they realize, hey, people are betting the under. We want to try to even out our money. Same thing on the spread. So you see it open it at 4.5. Now it's at 7.5. Now this has a little bit to do with Jacksonville's secondary. Obviously, C.J. Henderson just got traded to the Carolina Panthers, but Cincinnati has a couple of their secondary guys out as well. But
Jesse Bates is out tonight. No Jesse Bates.
Right.
Pro
right.
safety.
He's supposed to be a top 5 safety in the league. So with that being said, and then also Cincinnati having the really impressive win over Pittsburgh as well. That definitely changed some things. So you look at it now, the current, it's -7.5. Over under is 46. Again, this may be a little bit different from all the books. Here they use Caesar's Palace. So whatever Caesar's Palace has it at, this is what Vegas Insider is using. On the spread, you can look. 74% is on Cincinnati -7.5. 26% is on Jacksonville +7.5. This actually changed. So right before we started recording this, Zane, it was actually at 77 and at 23. So you're already kind of starting to see that a little bit more people are starting to throw some money on Jacksonville late. And then obviously the money line, you got 91% on Cincinnati Bengals money line, and then you got 9% on Jacksonville. I don't have the money line pulled up right now. Zane, by any chance, do you know what that money line is right now?
Let's see.
I can pull it up real quick, but
-335.
So, okay, so 335 to win $100, and so you got 91% on that. So that's a lot of change on the Bengals.
That's a lot of change.
Yeah. And then the over under, you got 78% on the over of 46, 22% on the under. My personal play on this game is I took Cincinnati -4 first half. That's it. I'm not taking a full game play. I see this being Cincinnati controlling the game, the entire game, maybe being up by 2 scores the entire game. And then Jacksonville kind of coming back with that backdoor spread. Keep in mind, Jacksonville was leading a good part of the game against the Arizona Cardinals last week.
13-7.
Huh?
13-7 at halftime. They had to play some defense to hold the Cardinals to 7
right. And I know they were at home. They had the home field advantage, which is what we've talked about, which has been a big thing lately. But with that being said, that's why I'm staying away from this full game total, because Jacksonville was in a position to cover against the Cardinals last week, but Robinson fumbled whenever he was about to score, and that just completely changed the entire game. It felt like everything that could go wrong for Jacksonville after them returning that missed field goal for a touchdown right before half went wrong. Everything that could have gone wrong in the second half went wrong. Trevor Lawrence throwing that terrible pick six that he tried to throw. Off his back foot, trying to throw to a side pocket fade and cover 2. That was absolutely terrible. And then obviously just allowing Arizona to just drive the ball. Jacksonville not being able to drive the ball, and the time that they did drive the ball to be able to try to cover having the fumble. So I'm going to stay away from the full game total and the spread. I'm just taking Cincinnati -4 in the first half. Hopefully they cover in the first half, and then I can just chill and watch the second half with ease. But with that being said, let's also take it to another game that's going on tonight, Zane, too, as well, before we start previewing this upcoming week. Another game that we have going on tonight as well on the college slate is we do have where'd it go?
Hold on, leave it there 1 second. I want to point one thing out before you pull it up, because you got college football matchups up. Let me point one thing out right here. You see that the line opened at -4.5 for Cincinnati, and it's moved to -7.5, and 79% is on the spread. Notice how that number is moving with the public. But look on the over under.
Look, Zane, sorry to cut you off. It was just at 76.
Yeah, it already went up.
And 24. Now it's already back up to 79. That's why I love this website, because within seconds it will update.
Yeah. People are placing bets right here behind me at Circa right now. Look at all of them in line. Okay, but look at the spread, or look at the total moving down from 49 to 46. yet the public is all over the over. To me, when I see something like this with the reverse line movement, it's automatically an alert because they're moving it down and they're going to keep taking money on the over, keep taking money on the over. And so for me, if I was going to make a play on this game, I would take the under.
Yeah.
I would 100% take the under.
Absolutely.
So, but again, I don't like this game. Not a fan. I'm lying through my teeth. I'm definitely going to lock something in when we get off of this, but I don't have a play to give out right now.
It's just tough to say, hey, I'm going to bet this under whenever these defenses really haven't proven that they can stop anybody.
No.
That's what's tough. And Cincinnati, yeah, they had a good showing defensively last week, but with their best safety being out this week, it's going to be tough. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. So let me switch over to this college football. So we do have one other game tonight. We got Virginia, Miami. So Virginia, actually it's Miami, the home team. This opened up, as you can see, at 65.5 right here. And then now currently the total is at 62.5. So kind of the same, that reverse line movement that we were just talking about on the NFL game. And then it opened up as Miami -5. Now it's currently Miami -4. I haven't placed a bet on this game. I don't know if I'm going to, honestly. I know you were telling me that you like Miami if De'Aaron King is not playing.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the spread looks pretty even, 54-46. That's pretty much about as even as you can get. But one thing that I am looking at right now, Zane, that is very intriguing to me is look at this.
Yeah,
2% on Virginia money line. 2%. That is the typical case when Vegas makes money. So I may just sprinkle a couple units on Virginia money line and just say, hey, if I lose, I lose. It is what it is.
These are one of the biggest trap money lines. These are one of the biggest trap money lines. Miami is -170 and Virginia is +150. They are collecting so much juice if Virginia wins. And so my thing is, this again is not a foolproof system, but if you go in and you take a couple +150s where all the money's on the -170, if you take a couple of those and go 2-1, you're profiting. It's more of a system than just going in and picking games. And if you're already getting nervous about that -4 and you're like, oh, I'm just going to take a money line, bro, you already lost because you're not paying good value.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so I may sprinkle a little bit on Virginia money line, and then you see the over/under at that total of 62.5 at being 81-19. So with that, hey, I may even throw a little parlay with the Virginia money line and the under. It'd be looking nice. So we'll see. Maybe even do a little teaser. May do a teaser and take Virginia, like +17 on a 13-point teaser. And take the under at 75. So
it's your typical case, Josh, where Virginia's up 23-20 with a minute left. The under's already done. Everybody already lost on the over. The under's cashed. And people that took Miami are just begging for a touchdown push. I mean, you see it all the time. Those cases happen.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But again, that's a team where Virginia has an awful defense. And Miami is average. They have been for the last several years. I don't trust them whatsoever. So, again, just 2 Thursday games that are a little weird. I don't feel like I should tease anything either because to me that feels like a chase when I already don't have a good feel on these games.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into week 4. As you can see here, I'm already pulling up this preview here. We already talked about Jaguars and Bengals, but let's talk about a matchup, Zane, that you're really excited for, you're intrigued for. What's a matchup that you may like, an underdog or, somebody that you're looking forward to watching that game or looking to see a team bounce back? I'll tell you right now, that Cardinals-Rams game is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that Cardinals-Rams game is looking good. Rams at home. One that really sticks out to me is the Vikings-Browns. What the Browns going to do on the road, and are the Vikings going to be able to win 2 in a row at home and get a little bit of momentum built? So I think that game's interesting. Cleveland opened up again. This is the same situation as Seattle last week. Short favorite, only -2. I don't like the Vikings. I'm not a huge fan, but I think this is a spot where if you want to get on them money line, it's probably going to be around that +140 mark. I think it's great value. I don't see, with it being a road game, just, I don't know. Baker has looked awesome. He could be due for a turnover. You never know. There's a lot of talent on the field for both of those teams. I think the Vikings can get a win, and it'd be a huge win to start writing their season in the right direction after what's happened to them the first couple of weeks. I'm interested in that one. And then I'm also interested to see, I know Kansas City is going to bounce back against Philly, but how much are they going to win by? For me, coming off a loss, like I said earlier, I got that teaser.
You got a -1, right? You did a
Kansas
6-point
City
teaser.
-1 and Tampa Bay -1. Sure, average, whatever. It's basically even money. It's like -120. I'm risking 60 to win 50. But again, both of those teams coming off a loss, I don't see them losing 2 in a row. Not in the cases of what I saw from the Eagles the other night. I think Kansas City covers -7 too. It's a great spot to back them at -7. The Eagles just don't have enough on offense. And then with Tampa Bay, I think, again, we're going to be like, okay, yeah, it's Tom Brady, not Bill Belichick. Tom Brady's going back to Foxborough, back to Gillette. He's going to dominate them. And this Sunday night, he can become the 4th player all time to defeat all 32 franchises after he beats his former team. So to me, it's already written. Sounds average, but I'm looking at both of those -7 spreads too. So I locked that teaser in before either one of those lines move anymore.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's also him about to be breaking the NFL passing yard record as well.
He's going to do a bunch of stuff
in New England. So you're talking about a perfect story and just a perfect fate and how that works out.
And New England keeps getting hyped up too, but they just haven't looked that sharp to me. I mean, they got a quarterback.
New Orleans last week was actually a team that I hit on as well. I like New Orleans on the road in Gillette, playing against the Patriots. So
I had New Orleans +3. I was like, this is a coin flip game.
Yeah.
I'll take the 3 points.
Absolutely. So you got those games. I mean, I can definitely agree with you. I like the Cardinals Rams. I think that Seahawks 49ers game is going to be another really good one. And honestly, I'm going to tell you this. I think that Baltimore Ravens and Denver Broncos games is going to be really good. Denver has still yet to play at home. This is going to – actually, no, I'm sorry. They just played at home last week against the Jets. That was their first home game. But them playing at home at Mile High, we were just there. Huge home field advantage. Baltimore has not been very good on the road. They're 1-1. Their one win was against a terrible Detroit Lions team. Yeah, they've kept games close, but I personally think Denver actually comes away with this win. I think Denver winds up being 4-0 and Baltimore winds up being 2-2, and everybody's talking about it next week. I'm not going to say that I'm placing a bet on this game yet, but I do think Denver takes this game and they walk away 4-0, and they will be first place in the AFC West.
It's probably the sketchiest game of the week, but I would not be surprised either if that outcome happens, especially Ravens opened up as 3-point favorites. Now they're 1-point underdogs already. All the talk around the Broncos is, they haven't played anybody. Well, what happens when they come out and beat the Ravens? Then you got to give them a little bit more respect, okay?
Exactly.
And we'll see how good the defense really is. I think, honestly, that – they got the secondary to back them, but with the front, too, with Von Miller, I think Lamar's going to have a hard time running the ball. And when that happens and you make him throw, you know what can happen. So I'm excited for that matchup, and I'm also very excited for Monday Night Football because I think the Raiders are going to get their first loss. Yeah. I'm all over the Chargers in that game.
I'm not there just yet. I'm not there just yet in regards to getting to that game. But before I say that, I do think the Bears lose this weekend. Chicago -3 spread at home. I think that's just very sketchy. Jared Goff actually playing pretty well this year, throwing for 801 yards, 5 touchdowns in 3 games. I think he's managing this offense well. I think the Lions, they've been close. And I think if Justin Fields winds up starting this game, I don't trust our offense to be able to beat Detroit at home. I just don't. I don't see it happening. If it happens, obviously I'm going to be more than ecstatic. But that's pretty much going to be my motto for the rest of the year is just fade the Bears. And so whenever they do beat me, hey, I'm happy about it. It is what it is. It's a win-win situation. But with that being said, the number one game
literally just moved right in front of my face. The Ravens just went from +1 to -1.
Really?
It literally just updated right now.
What are you looking at that on Vegas?
I'm looking at Action.
Oh, on Action. Okay.
Yeah, they got
Action Network is another platform that we look at too. But like how you mentioned earlier, Zane, with the Raiders and the Chargers, this is my favorite matchup of the week.
Yeah.
This is my favorite matchup of the week, okay? You got the Las Vegas Raiders coming into LA, playing at SoFi Stadium. You got the Chargers, who are 2-1. Their only loss was a tight, close game against Dallas Cowboys, which I personally think they could have and should have won. They just came off with an upset in Arrowhead, beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Now they're at home playing the Raiders. I am all over the Chargers in this game. All over the Chargers in this game. I don't see the Raiders being 4-0. I'm all over the Chargers in this game. I'm hoping that I win a crap load of cash this weekend from our bookie, and I'm going to put it all on Chargers -3 Monday night, but I'm going to buy it down to 2.5, and I'm going to love it, and it's going to be a great evening. And then 4 days later, we're going to be eating an elite dinner prepared by a private chef with nice red wine with me, you, my beautiful and wonderful fiance, my in-laws, their neighbors. Shout out Bob and Judy. Shout out Ricky and Liz. I love y'all, Mom and Dad, and our boy Douglas. We're going to be in there feeling nice, and I cannot wait. So this next week is going to be nice, and Monday is going to be a perfect way to start it off.
I'm all over. I hope the same thing. I had an awesome week last week. I'm on a 2-3 week streak of winning money. But this week I'm down a couple units right now, clawing back, and I'm hoping that I can have a big Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I can go all in on the Chargers Monday night.
I'm all in on the Chargers -2.
Look, here's the deal. It's a division game. It's in LA. LA already dropped one home game. Right. This is easy math. Take the betting, take all the other shit out of it. This is easy math. Are the Raiders really going to be 4-0
no.
and the Chargers be 2-2? No. They're both going to be 3-1.
They're going to be 3-1, and then you're going to have Denver. You're going to have Denver be like 4-0, and then the Chiefs that are going to be, back to 2-2, and it's just going to be weird division. And the Chiefs are going to have a remarkable comeback later on this season. They're going to wind up winning the division, and then it's going to be a battle. Well, who's all going to make the AFC wild card? And it's crazy because the AFC West and the NFC West are just alike.
Yeah,
you're going to have one team that's going to win the division, and there's going to be another 3 teams that are probably going to take every single wild card position, with AFC being the Chargers, because I think the Chiefs are still going to win the AFC West, being the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos are all going to be competing for wild card spots. Same thing with the NFC West. I think the Rams are going to win the NFC West, and you're going to have to be dealing with San Fran, Seattle, and Arizona making the wild card. That's why I don't think the Bears have a chance this year. I don't think the Bears have a chance. We're nowhere close to what Seattle, Arizona, and San Fran is. And with that being said, those are the 2 best divisions in football right now, in my opinion.
And back in the AFC, Josh, yeah, those 3 teams in the West, Tennessee's going to run away with the South, and there's nobody you'll have to worry about in the South because the Colts are usually there. It doesn't look that way right now, like they will be. Same thing with the AFC East. Bills are going to run away, but in the North, it's crowded too. It's the same thing. Steelers are in
Brownies. Brownies. Shout out Cameron. Shout out Merca. The Brownies are going to win the AFC North. I'm calling it now.
And then if the Ravens and Bengals can compete, though, throughout the entire year like they have thus far, they're going to be in the wild card spot too. So it's going to be crowded. The Dolphins may be in the mix potentially, but we'll see about that from the East. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be crowded down the stretch if these teams keep playing this way.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be very exciting to see. But those are definitely the games that I like. Again, just to kind of recap, the only pick that I'm announcing that I'm taking right now is going to be Cincinnati -4 first half. We may play into that Virginia-Miami game, but as of right now, we are not playing into that. So that being said, hey, again, we appreciate everything. Texas A&M sucks. I know we didn't get to really recap any NCAA football, but let's talk about one thing, though, Zane, right before we go. We got to talk about one thing.
Astros money line. We're clinching tonight.
Oh, that is true.
Colin McHugh.
We didn't talk about that yet, baby. H-Town, let's go. Astros 1 win away from clinching the AL West. This will actually be the second time. Well, we've already clinched 3 years in a row, 2017, 2018, 2019. We didn't clinch last year. We'll be clinching again this year. We also did that before in 2002, 2003, 2004, I think. Or maybe it's 2003, 2004, 2005. I think that's what it was, whenever we were in the National League. But very exciting time for the Astros. Ready for playoff baseball. Ready for October to be here. Definitely going to have to go to a game. Zaine, you're going to have to come down to Houston. We got to go to a game, dude. I know me and you have not gotten to a playoff game together. I've been to a couple of the playoff games. I don't know if you've been doing a playoff Astros game just yet.
Let's go next week. Yeah, I've been to Astro playoff games, but let's go next week against the White Sox. We'll go Saturday.
Whenever you're in town?
Yeah. Actually, don't know if I can. Mom,
let's go.
I'm not making any promises yet. But Lance is on the bump.
Kayla and Array can hang out, and because she's coming to town, they can hang out, and we'll go to the playoff game.
Lance is on the bump tonight, going against Colin McHugh, who was on our team when we won the World Series. Yep. He's a bullpen guy now for the Rays. It's going to be a bullpen game for them. I'm not saying the Rays don't have anything to play for, but we typically play well against them. We played better against them than a lot of teams do in the league, especially.
They did just beat our ass last night, but
they did, but we beat them the night before, so it's fun. But tonight, big night. We have not been playing particularly well.
Jose.
We haven't been playing particularly well for the last week or so. So big game tonight to get momentum, and the Rays clinched first place last night. So, I mean, they still have something to play for, but not really. So our night's tonight to go clinch. Lance on the bump, minus 150. I like it a lot, so I'm on it.
Yeah, definitely. Probably going to throw a good little amount of cash on that right now. But, well, man, as always, we appreciate you guys. This was our first video episode, so we will be posting this on our YouTube platform. Going to be extracting the audio. We'll still post it on our Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But I'm actually about to get ready. I'm about to hit the road, and I'm about to go catch this Clear Springs Clear Lake game. We got a big matchup down here in Galveston County, down here in South Houston. We got Clear Lake, 5-star cornerback Julian Humphrey. He's going to be shadowing 4-star Noah Thomas, who's committed to A&M Gig'em. Noah's actually been kind of lingering with injuries, but he's back now 100%, so we're excited to see that. Springs had a really tough preseason schedule. Now they're getting into district play. It's going to be exciting to see, so I'm about to head that way and catch that game right now. I'll be posting some videos and some pictures on Instagram.
Hey, hold on. Chargers are a lock because Derek Carr just came out and said 3 minutes ago, Bleacher Report, 3 minutes ago, Chargers are a home game. It's just a fact. SoCal crowds always favor the silver and black.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Chargers are a lock.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers.
You can't get cocky, bro. Chargers are a lock.
I'm taking the Chargers 100%. So. But, well, again, as always, we appreciate you guys continuing to follow us on social media. We just posted a post for Justin Tucker, Player of the Week. Go out that, like that, share that. And, man, feel free to give us feedback. Hey, DM us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, message us. Let us know if there's stuff you're liking that we do, stuff that we don't like that we do. Maybe you got some recommendations. Would love to have some guests on here as well. So this is kind of our first episode with doing videos. We look forward to kind of doing this here in the future. But other than that, as always, it's a pleasure. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, everything at Needed Sports. Don't forget at Needed NFL as well. And as always, we appreciate you guys. Peace.